If you remember, our episode number 1 is about MACD and its 3 components. But this time, we're going to be talking about an edge further on MACD to understand it, which is obviously your divergence and convergence. So let's go dive in. One very important aspect of finding your divergence is to look for your histogram. So one thing that you will notice is that there are different lengths and depth of your histogram. For example, this is a very high green histogram or buying volume. This is also a histogram. However, this is a bit of a small histogram compared to this. And another lens, we also see that there is a big red histogram or the selling pressure, and you also have another selling pressure within this particular area. This is what you call your divergence and convergence. This is obviously a signal of a potential weakening buying pressure. In this case, the first buying pressure is higher, but this one is compared to this one. So whenever you see from a histogram perspective that there is a weakening of your buying pressure, or the buying pressure is creating a higher low, and in your selling pressure, you're seeing a smaller or a weaker selling pressure, there's a tendency for your price to transition. So let's just try to compare that with your price in the overlay. So one thing that you will notice is that in this particular example, you're going to notice that there is a bigger buying pressure and a smaller buying pressure here, and your price is trying to create or attempting to create a higher high from a trend perspective. I'll repeat. So the price is already moving upwards. It consolidates a bit, and it's trying to attempt to create the same price and even break out from that particular price and even break out further. And you will notice that comparing to the buying pressure below, this is a bit smaller. This is what you call a potential transition to a downward trend. This is what you call a divergence, meaning that the price is creating or attempting a higher high, but your oscillator or MACD is not agreeing to it. Therefore, the trend is it's diverging. This is the price and this is the oscillator. So basically, you're seeing two trends. This is the price is creating a higher high, or it's creating or attempting a same price. Oh, and then the oscillators or MACD is creating a different trend. In this case, you're going to notice it's creating a different trend, but the price is creating a same price or even a higher high. That's why it's a signaling for a potential downward trend. At the same time, you're going to notice that you have a price that's actually creating a lower low, but your moving average histogram is creating, a different direction. That's why it's called convergence, meaning the price is converging towards the oscillator. So this is obviously what you call a convergence. This is what you call a divergence. So if you see a convergence, there's a potential for it to create a transition from a downward trend to an upward trend. And if you see a divergence, you're going to notice that it can transition from an attempt to create a higher high trend and now create a downward trend. So whenever you see those two types of scenarios, be mindful to mellow down on your appetite to go and buy the asset if you see divergences. And then if you see a convergence, this is a potential signal to start preparing for your buy because that trend might potentially transition. One thing you need to remember that even if divergence and convergence are good in extra confluence for you, it is still something that you cannot use as a sole indicator. You still need to use a couple of indicators such as your key level resistance and support, which we're going to discuss on our next series. You also need to consider market events and market structures to make sure that you are really identifying what are the drivers of the market. For example, for Bitcoin, there are economic drivers. And from a market structure perspective, you might not yet be within your key level support. That's the reason why even if you see convergence, it can still create a lower low from a market structure standpoint. Thank you very much. And if you've learned something, please don't forget to click on like and subscribe. Ngayon ka, Miranda, alam mo na ha.
Subscribe, like, follow, and share. Sige na please, Ka Miranda.